Hi, everybody. This is Robert from Point to
Point
Point
two.
podcast. And joining me, as always, is Tony.
Good evening, people. So today's topics, Robert, what we're going to talk about?
Well, what's more fun? Should we talk about all the old stories we had at school, or should we talk about the more serious one?
I think it's probably the less serious.
Yeah, the less serious is better to
The
start
more
with.
serious is kind of a little bit boring. What funny things we occur in our practice or the stories that we can talk about our experience at school? Oh, then wait. Then again, we cannot say too much about school. We're gonna make a lot enemies,
No, as long as we don't put in names, we don't say anything.
but they know who they are.
Of course, they know who they are, but
Especially if they listen to us right now.
no. For example, like I still remember the first day I started,
Hmm.
which was interesting because there must have been 25 people in our class, and we were in that small room all the way in the back where it used to have all the cooking equipment for the herbs. So I remember it was April, and the whole place was packed. They had long tables and everything. Even I think some people actually had to stand up. And for whatever reason, with all the people inside of there, it must have gotten to like 80, 85 degrees. As all of us were sweating. There's no window there either.
Yeah, that room have no windows.
It
Did they
it
cook
had
the
the
herbs?
Yeah, we used to keep all the herbs in that back room.
Yeah.
We had them inside plastic containers, and they went all the way up to the ceiling. And there was another door that led to the back, which was a staircase that went up to the second floor, but it was covered over because we had I think the lawyers were upstairs at the time. So they used to store all the herbs inside of there. They had little plywood and stuff across each of
Yeah, I remember
the
because
steps.
many years forward, I was the one who cleaned up the storage space. I'm like, what the heck is all these? Why you have this thing inside? They never clean up that herbal thing.
Well, you mean I
So
never
it
cleaned up the herbal thing?
the thing is it eats up the metal piece. It's all rusty. I like, oh my goodness. The bat's still stuck inside and the herbs is still inside.
Oh, you
Yeah.
mean the actual herbal
Yeah.
oh
The brewer or the
the
machines,
brewer,
the
yeah.
bag.
Oh, I
Somebody did it. They left it inside
yeah.
the closet too. So because
Okay.
of throughout the time they haven't cleaned up, so inside everything probably is just acidic too. So it's milk or it rusted air or the metal, everything. Oh, I like wow, you guys I like wow. The administrative people, the staffs, really. It's expensive products. It's so nice to
Yeah.
utilize it, to learn from it. That's probably cost more than $10,000.
I
More
was
than 10,000.
I was running that machine. Thankfully, I wasn't the one that let that go. I was over at the school 3 nights a week brewing all those herbs and using the bagging machine. And at the end of the week, I would bleach the whole thing out. It would be nice and clean and ready to go for next week's patients. The thing was, is after a while, no one wanted to use the machine anymore. It was just too much work. Plus, it was steaming up that back room because they didn't have any ventilation to it as well. So if you looked up on the ceiling, you could see the dark spots of where the herbs were cooking.
Mhm, mhm. They probably don't use it because you left.
Well, they started getting all the herbs straight from Torrentong.
It's just a shame. It's good knowledge to gain because it's very close to decoctions like the herbs.
Yes.
But I think when I study the herbal classes, we only do powders. God, I hate those powders because every time I have to make them, oh, my clothes, my white lab coats always yellow.
Well, that's where the profession was headed with that because they didn't want to bother with the actual herbs anymore. It was easier for them to create a crystallized version of it and just mix them all together to give people pills or, a scoop to take them.
Mhm, mhm.
I
So,
well, I agree with you. The herbs were better. If you're just taking, a crystallized version of the liquid and you're mixing it together, you just have a cocktail. That's all it is.
yeah,
Cooking the herbs together will give you a chemical reaction.
yeah, of course, because that's how chemistry works. You put all those things together, they interact. But if it's like dry versions, everything's like the property is gone already. That's why I don't like the powder. And they claim it's concentrated.
It is.
You could take forever to eat those powder. I don't. Sometimes it depends on your conditions. You will not see those effectiveness right away. It can take longer too. The worst thing is people wanted to take capsule.
Yes.
Oh my God, when I make capsule, I look at it. So much powder is left over. I like it's horrible.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with the capsules themselves, there was a lot left over, but we still had to make up the extra amount to give it to them as well. The powder itself, with the ratio, what happened was is sometimes that ratio still didn't fit in specifically with the formula that was being given. It just doesn't make up the like 8 capsules three
No, of
times a
course, of
day that
course.
somebody needs to make. It's going to run over. So we had to make the extra capsules to give it to them. When we first started with the granules and we were trying to figure out how to best give it to the patient, we thought it would be best just to use the scoop. Here's the herbs, here's how many scoops you need to get the formula. Take it until the bottle's finished. Come back and then get another prescription.
I do like the scoop ones, but I really don't like when they put in those packaging machines. Most of the time they don't not set it up right, so I end up cleaning it many times. When I was like studying, they had to call me. The machine's not working. I'm like, what the heck? Oh, it exploded. I'm like, come on. I had to do it after my class.
I know. It happened several
Yeah.
times with my wife, and then my wife called me and asked me how to fix it.
Yeah, back then I was the first person actually to witness the new machines.
Mhm.
I'm like, what's wrong? All of you was next to me, behind me. Somehow I'm the only person try to re-educate everyone. It's so problematic because it's kids the same old mistakes. I like you guys put it in wrong. That's why the whole earth exploded.
Well, it was fairly
Mhm.
intuitive too. It's literally just pour in the herbs, clear off the top so you don't have any extra,
Yeah.
and then you press the button and it would drop each one into the specific packet, which was great. Except they poured it all the way across the top.
Oh,
That goes up another inch, and then when it comes in, you see the whole thing fall out the
that's
bottom.
the problem. That's why the thing doesn't seal nicely, then the whole thing's exploded.
And that's the other thing. The powder got on the roller,
Mhm.
like the
That's
heat
the thing, the
roller, and
problem.
then it
Yeah.
would cook the herb on the heat roller, and then we'd
You
have to
smell it.
scrape that off too.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I'm like, oh God. They think it's nice, high tech, but really it's better just to do the scoop.
Yes.
It's more efficient, more accurate. It's not perfect because unlike human errors, like you said, some people they just pour everything
Yeah.
in, yeah, overflow it. They just no patience. The students because they think, oh, I know how to do this, and they mess everything up because they really don't know what to expect. Uh, See, they should have that course, like intro course for their herbs. So you have these machines. You should teach all the students the introduction to herbs with that machines. So as they learn it, when they get toward internships in the clinic, they know how to use it. That's back then they didn't do that.
No, they
I'm not sure if they do that currently, but still. A lot of things they should, but they did not improve on.
I introduced it to them after they got into the internship. But even then, they weren't supposed to touch it, I think, until they were in their junior internship or something like that. The people didn't really touch the herbs in a clinic sense until they needed it as a requirement, and they had to have me sign off on it that they did such and such hours. Most people just came in, they looked at the herbs, they watched me make everything up, and then they handed me the sheet and said, "Here, please sign this."
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I saw them. Bad thing I work in front desk. I saw they just look at you and like, wow, they don't do anything.
to be fair, I was also younger and more brash, so I tried to teach them, but I didn't have as enough experience in dealing with people as I do now. So it was kind
You
of
had a
harder
lot of
to,
experience back then, really.
technical wise, with the information, yes, but I wasn't good with people. That wasn't one of my strong suits. I will say that.
You were okay, really. I really still don't remember how we end up talking to each other. I don't know where. Do I go to the upper room to say hi to you or in the clinic?
Even my wife was asking me the other day, how did we meet?
The strangest thing is that I don't recall. I know I work at the front desk or back uh, there in school. Well, problem is I work everywhere.
Well, see, and I think that was it because you saw me in the clinic. I always saw you at the front desk. You were doing all the administration stuff. And
Yeah.
I'd always run into you like during the weekends or some other time when nobody else was around. You were doing all the administrative work and I was doing all the herbs in the back. I think you had a few classes with my wife at the time too.
No,
So
that
it was,
most likely, yeah. Because the funny thing is for me, because based on my health science or pre-med experience, some students look at me like this is a senior class. So like, so I sing here, right? That's when I able to take it because I was a freshman consider. A lot of them were the seniors. They look at me like, what the hell? I don't know who you are. You must be new. I'm like, yeah, so yeah, I've been taking so many different classes.
the one question my wife has is when did you start?
Oh, I cannot tell you. I don't remember at all. I tend to forget all these years too. People ask my age. I don't remember my age or birthday sometimes.
Yeah, I have that issue too.
Like, who cares? I told my patient, don't worry, I'm not new. I have many years experience. How many years? I just don't remember. 10 plus years. Don't worry. That's the funny thing is I don't remember how we interact or which area we start to talk to. Maybe, no, cannot be hallway.
I think it was in the clinic. I really think it was at the front desk at first. Um,
Were
you
you helping out? I'm not really working the clinic in the front. Maybe Thursday I might be helping Dr. Wu out. Then you inside, maybe?
That's possible.
That's pretty so long ago.
I know. The only times I remember is you always stopped by the clinic while I was in there and we always start talking.
Yeah, that's I know that part because I usually have night classes and also work in with the admissions. That time I is Thursday, so my supervisor is not there. So
Hmm.
I was pretty much by myself. And after I finish everything, I just like walk around to say hi, how you doing? Uh, Plus, sometimes I have clinic with Dr. Wu on Thursday. That's why I work, then finish, then go to clinic.
I was there on Thursdays with Dr. Wu, now that you had mentioned it.
That's
Um,
how we able to talk because during other days we're so busy we cannot even talk. Especially if my supervisor around, I have to make sure she get her stuff done.
yeah. That was the other thing too, was that if you didn't have any patients, most of them were just twiddling their thumbs inside of the conference room. You at least were inside the herbal room with me because you were at least looking at stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm such an odd person.
Well, that and you probably just got away because it probably would have been quieter.
I'm really not that people person either. I would stay quiet a lot of time. I just want to make sure like, hey, who's. I try not to interact, but I think it's because I end up working with the school, and I have to end up to interact with a lot of people. The interesting is how I developed that I end up to be everybody's like go-to persons. Funny thing is, I remember this time that when students have problems, they come to me. They will not see any other one else. That's okay, reasonable because I'm also a student. So I bridge that between students and the school.
Mhm.
Then of course teacher will ask me, okay, saying, okay, you work for a school, you know everything. How you do this computer issues? I'm really not an IT person. I'm not certified in anything. It's just that some of those basic knowledge are like, okay, type it in the password, done. Plug in. Projector is not working. Well, yeah, you have to connect it first. I had a lot of problem with that. They was calling Tony, the projector is not working. I'm like, okay, what happened? And I go in, hi everyone. Give me a minute. Here's the problem. Okay, done. Sometimes they just don't remember the password. The password is printed on it. I don't know why we have password because the password is always had the label on it, password for the computer. I don't know why the school had to put set up the password. The IT guys like to set it up, but it's there. It'd be like easier if you just remove the password. People just click on it. That's done. There's no secret.
Well, people were afraid of the IT guy there too.
He's that IT guys. It's a character, I would say.
Yeah, that's what
He's
my wife
the
said.
he, he would sell us the old router when the boss say, "Oh, this is so good." I look at it like, first I'm not an IT person. I know this is like old router, like secondhand stuff that is probably from other companies that they don't want. He just sell it back to us. I was like, this seemed to be outdated because my home router is like more advanced than the school. One odd thing is I had a teacher approach me. She told me the students did not pass
Mhm.
the midterm and the quizzes. What should I do? I look at her in my mind like, are you
What?
serious?
What?
Ask me. One, I'm not the teacher who's grading the person. You are.
So go to the
I,
dean,
I,
ask
I told
them.
her I think you have to fail the person.
I think we have to fail.
I like she felt awful to fail the students, but I look at her like you tell me that person, the student failed the midterms and the person didn't do well on quizzes. Yeah, well, she's gonna fail the course. You have to let the students know. I cannot believe a lot of people ask me certain weird things. Like, what should I give the grade to the students? Like, one, I'm not the administrator. Plus, also, I'm also a student too. Certain things
Yeah.
they should not share with me. And I have this student approach me one day I think on a Saturday. I was in the hallway. By the way, I don't work on weekend because I had classes too. He said, Tony, like, what happened? The bathroom is not working. So I replied to her, the only things I can do is put a sign saying do not use. Thank you. Hey, come on, common sense. If I want to be a plumber, guess what? I still not gonna do my plumbing jobs. You can't ask everybody in the office. What the heck you come to me? The bathroom's not working. It's leaking.
Well, you were the go-to person. They wanted your opinion on how to fix it.
Yeah, I could put a tape and signs. It's just that really one disadvantage about working for a school that there's no my personal time. I sacrifice a lot of my time, my school times with the school. Yeah, and they really don't, some of them don't appreciate that. They never think that way. Yeah, I know you're pretty sure, Robert, you do the same. You've done the same thing. You sacrifice a lot of time.
Yeah, I was going there at 9 o'clock at night, making up the herbs in the herbal machine.
They probably don't really remember it too.
Well, some of the
It's about
people who
time.
would have remembered it, they're either dead or gone. So
It's good and bad. I do have this little regrets for working with the school.
mm,
At the same time, I was supposed to finish like long time ago. It's just that because of working, I just part time thinking, oh, maybe I could get some credits. Really, I doesn't save much money. I actually spend more money. Also, the education as times go by is kind of watered down. I think I did not get the special so what's the knowledge that we're supposed to getting. A lot of things they kind of like semi-retiring. There's a lot of crazy things going on. Yeah, the credentialing for the college.
you saw a lot of the administration end of it. I saw a lot of the herbal end of it. I will say this. I was extremely lucky to be able to work in the herbal clinic. I know I've mentioned this before to you, but I'll say it,
Mhm.
here as well. I had a lot of difficulty learning about the herbs. The first time I walked into class, I didn't get any of it. I couldn't understand it because everything was literally foreign to me. The names were foreign, the herbs were foreign. Well, maybe except for like one or two things like mint and garlic. Everything else was just,
But no ginseng?
see, that's the other
Oh,
thing too, is to someone from America, ginseng is a fad. We wouldn't understand exactly what it is. We would just hear it as this magical herb that makes you have more energy. Same with
mm.
ginkgo. Ginkgo is that magical herb that makes you think better. But I didn't know what it looked like, didn't know it was a tree, didn't know how you prepared it.
Well, how about this? To tell you the truth, those herbs is like kind of foreign to me too. Not all the Chinese or Asian people get to cook herbs at home or know what's herbs. It's because a lot of things is called somewhat more modernized to Western
Yeah.
medicine. Even my parents, they would trust medications over herbs. That's also a little bit harder for me since I'm do those Eastern medicines thing. I could tell my parents this and that, but well, and let me just go to my PCP, get some pills, and that's it.
See, certain things, let's say, for example, like dangui or huangqi, most of that is just common to regular cooking in
Yeah,
Chinese culture that I'm aware of.
punchy, definitely
Gochujang.
simplified here.
Yeah. But it was a different way for me to think about how to use them and to I even had to learn to identify all of the herbs. And I did a horrible job in the first few courses I did for individual herbs. I mean, I failed the first test. I think even the teacher at the time, he didn't think I'd be able to get it. So it wasn't until I started working in the actual herbal clinic, because the other gentleman who was doing it didn't want to do it anymore. That's when I started getting more of a hands-on approach with everything. As I started to see more and more of the prescriptions come through, I started to see, which herbs got paired with which. I started reading a little bit about what type of patients they were going to. That helped tremendously in figuring out, how does everything come into play. You do it for a few years. What's even funnier is when I took my test, my graduation test, we had to identify 20 different herbs.
Mhm.
And I remember my teacher went and he picked out all the different herbs, put it on the table. And he goes, Robert, you're not gonna have a problem with this. He says, we'll get the other people to come in and do it first. So the other people came in, they did it. Afterwards, I came in, I looked at him, go, oh, okay. So he says, oh, do you know the herbs? I said, yeah. I said, I'll go over each one with you. I said, I know this, and this. He goes, "Oh, you got that one wrong." No, I didn't. Oh yeah, you did. It's this herb. I'm like, no, it's not. So I walked over, I pulled it out. I actually knew where he got it from. I walked over, pulled out the herb, put it on the table next to it, and I said, "See, it's this one." He goes, "Yeah, you pass."
See, that's remind me of something that is would piss me off about the school. I always wanted to work in the herbal room.
Okay.
Anytime when they have the spots open in the technician spot, I want to move. They will always give me excuses. Oh, you're not needed. I'm like, why can I switch? Because I wanted to be there so I could learn all the herbs.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I hate about working with the school. They think, okay, we need you here, but not even part-time.
I remember another gentleman who came in. That guy sat with me every day. He actually became a technician later on too, and he worked with my wife for a little bit until he
Yeah, I
went
know
and
what you're
opened
talking
up his
about.
clinic. He did the work and he put in
Oh
the
no,
effort, and I can't,
he's real smart.
fault him for that.
Yeah, no, no.
But he's an oddity. He's not one of the normal people. He's not a normal person, though. He was somebody who was actually interested in doing it.
Mhm.
Even I had some other people who came in. There was this other lady that she had just taken the NCCAOM test for the herbs. She walked into the herbal room. The first thing she does, she asked me, "Robert, what should I take for a sore throat?" Especially after you just took the NCCAOM test?
Yeah, that person doesn't last long either.
No.
Yeah, I know a lot of things. See, this funny thing is that you don't we don't need to name names. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that person. Yeah, yeah. We cannot talk about the podcast. Really, we're gonna get in trouble.
Well, as long as we don't name names, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
This
I was,
funny thing is that we all know who's just by well names. But yeah, that person's it doesn't last too long. There's something happened.
I saw a great many people who acted like that, that they were very confident in their herbal knowledge. And then it just basically falls flat because it wasn't what they thought it was.
No, see, some people when these people have knowledge in China with the herbs, but when they come here, the herbs is a little bit different too.
Yeah, I will agree. Many people complain to me about learning the actual herbs themselves, the physical herbs, as I used to put it, because they just say, "Oh, we don't use these anymore. We're all using the powders now." I gave them the pros and cons of both. I let them know, and for the record, I personally go towards more to the physical than I do towards the capsules and the powders. And it's just, as I mentioned before, it's because there's more of a chemical reaction with the physical herbs than there are with the powders. Also, to be said, the powders themselves, I'm not going to say are cheaper, but they are very convenient. They are easy to use, and you can bring them with you if you happen to go on vacation. You don't have to worry about stinking up the kitchen if you're using, the actual physical herbs.
See, when you brew the herbs, you have to brew like 3 times. No, two times. Then you
It,
mix them together.
it depends on the
Um,
instructions.
most of the herbs that they want you to cut the first batch was very concentrated. Then you cook it the second batch. Then mix them. Then divide into three or two, depends on the instructions. That's the common ways of how the herbs works at home.
Yeah.
But most of the time, there's no real instruction in how you cook it. So some people put more water, some people put less water. Less water, more concentrated. More water is more dilute. People who don't like to drink strong herbs, they thinking, okay, let me put more water. But then again, you're drinking more more herbs.
You have to remember that the herbs were dried too, so you had to let them soak
So
first.
yeah. Yeah, and also depends on what the put in those scars. Yeah, those tiny
Yes,
seeds stuff.
correct.
Even like stones, like you might have to crush them, something. Yeah. Good herbal doctors, they will have this instruction. Put the things on the side.
Yes.
You will not cook them together, or what you had to add in. It's to me like by doing that, it's kind of more fun. It's like cooking. You add ingredients, this and that. You experimenting it. But with the powder, that's it. You mix it, you done.
In relation to convenience, you can't beat the powder. It's just whether you stuff it into a capsule or you just keep it in a bottle and use a spoon.
This also depends on where you live. A lot of people don't like the mess, the smell. The smell is the worst. I think probably a lot of people complain in the past. They do those decoctions that stunk up the place, like matzo. Ooh, when you do matzo, it smell. It does smell a lot.
Well, it doesn't help when the second story is all taken over by the lawyers too.
Oh,
So the lawyer
funny
group
thing is they never
upstairs were not happy. Trying to remember what other stories that I had from the clinic. All the presiding doctors there had different personalities, so they were very interesting to deal with sometimes.
every one of them have their own styles, like in
Yeah,
personality. Yeah. I never stayed with one supervisors. That's for a reason because I know each of them have different skills.
yeah.
In Manhattan, I forgot his name. His post diagnosis. Oh my goodness, he could map out 9 different poses. I'm like, wow. That's why, unfortunately, only one semester with him because he retired to Vegas, I think. But he looked at my tongue. He's the first one to tell me, "Oh, you got yellow lines on the teeth marks area," where other doctors never mention it. He tongues and pokes, he's real fantastic. He looks so detailed. That's why I really dislike the timing that I'm at with the school. They are all the good people is like only one trimester and yeah, they retired, they're gone. I'm like, no. How come when I try to study, they're not around anymore? Yeah, my education is not that in greater depth. I believe it's like kind of watered down. I know they don't share a lot.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave any suggestions down in the comments below, and then we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening. See you next time. Dun, 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 cut.